Hola, buenas tardes. Me llamo Cameron. Today we're going to talk about three cultures: the Spaniards, Incas, Toltecs, and the traditions associated with them. Let's start with the Spaniards. Residing in Spain and obviously speaking Spanish, the Spaniards were an early group of people who colonized and later became a great power in our growing world. The Spaniards utilized their work to create a nation of great power, diversity, culture, and tradition. Among the most famous, from flamenco and tapas to bullfighting, soccer, and even more, the people of Spain also happily celebrate holidays such as Cinco de Mayo and Dia de las Madres, or in English, Mother's Day. And yeah, the Spaniards are still here today, unlike our other cultures that we will get to. Next, the Incas were an ancient civilization of great people living with holy agriculture, festivals, and holidays of their own. Like the Aztecs and Mayans, the Incans worshiped many gods, with their most notable sun god. The Incas spent most of their days worshiping the gods. Lastly, the Toltecs were a Mesoamerican culture that dominated Tula. Notably, the later Aztecs saw the Toltecs as their intellectual predecessors. But the Toltecs also took part in common culture and traditions such as worship, building, and agriculture. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and adios.
In the 1900s, the Olmecs were a little-known cultural group of ancient Mesoamerica, which is shown here on this map. Scholars named them this based on their artistic style of their artifacts, but no one knew when they had lived. Most people think that they were a separate group of the Maya. Ignorance about the Olmecs was based on their geography, since they were located in the hot and swampy jungles where they lived. No one really wanted to go there to study and get the answers about them. The jungle forests have long ago engulfed the abandoned cities of the Olmecs, which hides them from sight. Over centuries, the mixture of heat and moisture combined to decay thousands of artifacts and other remains. In the 1940s, rumors about an eye sticking out of a trail drew a lot of attention. They began as digging up there and turning up the second of 17 known Olmec colossal heads. These heads have caused people to theorize and make assumptions about the Olmecs. These heads have become a hallmark for the Olmec culture. And this gives you an idea of how big that those heads were. And people think that they built these heads to honor that their rulers or their emperors. And now we're going to talk about Christmas. In Mexico, Christmas is celebrated from December 12th to January 6th. From December 16th to Christmas Eve, children often perform the posada. Posada in Spanish is for inn or lodging. There are 9 posadas. In each posada, children are given candles and a board with painted clay figures of Mary riding on a donkey and Joseph. They go to houses of friends and neighbors and sing a song at each home. The song they sing is about Joseph and Mary asking for a room in the house. And this gives you a picture of what's painted on their boards. It shows Mary, the donkey, and Joseph. And this just shows kids singing and the type of programs that they do during Christmas. Okay, now we're going to talk about Christmas in Spain. Most people in Spain go to the midnight mass or La Misa de Gallo, which means the Mass of the Rooster. It's called this because the rooster is supposed to have crowed the night that Jesus was born. Most families eat their main Christmas meals on Christmas Eve before the service. A few different languages are spoken in Spain, but in Spanish, Merry Christmas is Feliz Navidad. And this just shows another example of what they do during Christmas. They all go to this little town center and have different festivities. Now we're going to talk about Advent. In the early centuries, churches in the East celebrate the birth and baptism of Jesus on January 5th. Not surprisingly, the day became a major occasion for performing baptisms, which led to a preparatory period of fasting and instruction. Even though this is no longer a day for baptisms, Eastern churches kept the traditions of penitential preparation. This practice spread to the northern and western part of the church, where it fit well with a greater emphasis on the final coming and judgment of Christ, which is called for self-examination and spiritual readiness. Today, Orthodox Christians still do a native fast from meat from November 15th to December 24th. Obviously, Advent and Christmas are closely linked, and many cultural customs apply to both. And this right here shows you an example of, or this shows you a picture of Jesus getting baptized. And then, for example, the feast of Saint Nicholas, from which we get the idea of Santa Claus, falls on December 6th in Advent. Three Advent traditions are the Christmas tree, the Advent wreath, and the O antiphons opens for us, respectively, the theme of death and life, darkness and light, doubt and longing.
Hi, my name is Kieran and I'll be talking about three Spanish groups, the Aztecs, Mayas, and Guachos. And I'll be talking about them right now. First, we'll be starting with the Aztecs. There were two main social classes in the Aztec culture. The first, the nobility one, or the Pillai group, and then the common one, the Masihuale. The girls in the Aztecs were taught how to run a home, cook, and care for the family. But they were also taught things like crafts and ways to economically run the home. Boys learned other trades and were also taught fighting skills and leadership skills. In their mid-teens, adult life would begin. Girls would marry or stay in the temple and work. Boys might join the military or begin their trade. Marriages were arranged and again strongly tied to religious belief. Except for the nobility, the people were quite poor, even though great wealth was available in general. The people lived in adobe homes made of mud bricks. One building was for sleep and cooking and eating and worship. Another building constrained a steam bath. It was believed that the bath was important for a good health to the Aztecs. As people got older and more disease arrived, the religious healer would be called for. Then, medical science and religious ritual went side by side, and when death came, people would be cremated or buried, depending on how they died, and it was the family's choice of how they were buried. See, now we'll be talking about the Mayas. The arts and archaeologists that study the Mayas, they have found many types of Mayan art that include murals, clay figures, and stone carvings. Paintings show that rulers and nobles were fine clothed and jewelry. Sometimes the Maya painted their skin red, black, and blue. Writing Mayan artists painted and carved hieroglyphs on pottery, walls, and monuments. Scribes wrote books on fiber paper. They wrote prayer books as well as records of history, trade, and science. Only 4 of these books have survived in the world today. Historians have translated many, but not all hieroglyphs. Architecture. The Maya used complex architecture to build pyramids and palaces that still stand today, which is pretty good and incredible. With stone tools, they shaped stone blocks to fit together to make the buildings and roads. Although ruler and nobles had stone houses, most Maya lived in small mud houses with thatched roofs. Math and science the Maya made advanced discoveries in mathematics. They understood the idea of zero, which let them make complex calculations. The buildings they designed reflect their understanding of astronomy. Religion, the Maya believed that hundreds of gods controlled their lives. To avoid disasters such as floods and crop failure, they looked for a way to keep their gods happy. Kings and priests who believed to have special relationships with the gods were very powerful. Now last we'll be talking about the Guachos, which were established in Argentina. So having been colonized by a number of European countries in the past, Argentina is this smorgasbord of influences that define its identity. Significant influence include that of Spanish, French, British, and Italian culture, as well as African, and their very own Guacho culture. Cultural symbols include tango, influenced by jazz and swing of the U.S., has started out being affiliated with Argentina's lower classes, and football, a national sport brought upon by the British in 1860 to veer men away from the associated identity of tango at the time. Argentina has a number of famous artists and architects who are known worldwide. Among these Art Deco architect Cesar Pelli, who designed the Petronas Towers in Malaysia and the Norwest Center on Minneapolis, and Francisco Gianotti, who added flair to the cities of Argentina in the early 20th
Hola,
century.
¿cómo estás? Me llamo Artin Escandari, and today we're going to be talking about Easter in Mexico and España. And we're also going to be talking about Lent. So we're going to get right to it. As you already know, Mexico and South America and all over the world, any culture, they have their own traditions. And today is not one of them. But it is a Persian New Year, but we're not talking about that today. So what we're talking about today, as I already mentioned, is we're talking about Lent, number uno. Number dos is Mexican Easter. Number tres is Spain Easter. So we're gonna get to it right now. So you think you know everything about Lent? Ese? You think you know everything? Well, do you? I don't think so. So that's why I'm back here today, and we're gonna be talking about the great holiday of Lent. So, Lent in Latino is Quadragesima. Okay? You have it in your brain? Very good. In English is 40th. It is a solemn religious observance in the liturgical calendar of many Christian denominations that begins on Ash Wednesday and covers a period of approximately 6 weeks before Easter Sunday. The traditional purpose of Lent is the preparation of the believer through prayer, penance, and repentance of sins, almsgiving, atonement, and self-denial. This event, along with these pious customs, are observed by Christians in the Anglican, Calvinist, Lutheran, Methodist, and Roman Catholic traditions. Today, some Anabaptist and Evangelical churches also observe the Lenten season. It is an institutional purpose is heightened in the annual commemoration of Holy Week, marking the death, burial,